23. I attend Missouri Western State University, and I am a senior.
I thought I was doing what mothers are supposed to do when he was getting ready to go to college, so I took him to get a physical. And while he was getting the physical, the Jalen said, "Hey, Mom, while we're here, can you show the doctor this? Because I really think I have breast cancer." And I said, "Oh my goodness, doctor, would you please tell him he doesn't have breast cancer?" And he realized that something, wasn't quite right, and so it started the process of blood work and stuff.
This wasn't right. I shouldn't have to be feeling like this. My chest shouldn't look like this. And they just kept on telling me, well, maybe it's just your eating habits. Maybe it's just the stuff that you're not working out, or you're not doing your normal stuff that you should be doing, your everyday exercise and all that. Bigger shirts and bigger jackets and bigger hoodies, and try to avoid it as best as I could. Whenever I went to my first couple years of college, I ended up deciding to go ahead with the double mastectomy after I had studied a little bit more about it.
That was the first surgery. He had the mastectomy, and that was at KU Medical Center, and he had a great doctor that performed that. Wonderful doctor at KU. And it was a long procedure, but he got to recover at home.
I stayed in the hospital for about a week. After I had got out of the hospital, I went back home to our guest bedroom at our house, and I stayed on bed rest for a couple of months.
And he had some tubes coming out of him, and it was just like if a woman were to have breast cancer. It was the same surgery. They removed every ounce of tissue in his breast.
I always thought, like, what if something goes wrong, and what if I tear a stitch, or what if I get a blood clot or something. That was the biggest one, was having a blood clot just appear out of nowhere, because I saw so many that were stuck inside the tube, and my thoughts were, is something wrong? Like, or is this blood clot getting ready to go back, or what's getting ready to happen? So it was every day there was just another doubt in my head about what's gonna happen today. What's the next step that I gotta achieve to get better? Go to each building and each classroom that I needed to, and I would just take the books that I needed, the notebooks that I needed, or anything I just needed for that class. And then after that class, I would let the next professor know that I would have to go out to my car, grab the next set of books and all that stuff, and then walk back into the next building, and kind of do that day to day. After a couple of visits with the doctor, I had gotten some pretty horrific news of having a tumor on my pituitary gland, and the main cause of it was that my prolactin levels weren't as right as a male should have his prolactin levels, and that is what was causing my chest to have the whole issue that they were having.
They told us if he did not have the tumor removed, and if it were to grow any bigger, it could affect his eyesight, and he wouldn't be able to have children, most likely. And he would have osteoporosis by the time he was, they said, 21 or 22, something like that, a young man. And he would be hunched over, and his bones would be brittle. So they told us that he needed to have it removed.
I think at first I was more kind of like in shock because it's kind of like you don't think of those things like happening to you. Like, you think of, oh, other people, but not necessarily someone so close to you. And then kind of after it kind of hit, I remember crying. I mean, I was pregnant, so I was already emotional. But I mean, just to think that because he's my only, blood brother, but it was very shocking. So
Both surgeries, they said, there are some complications and everything. So I do remember both surgeries. I did say bye to, my mom. That was the hard part, was saying bye to my mom, and seeing her, cry, and seeing her, all her emotions running through her at the time. But it definitely was a scary moment of being like, this, whatever happens in that room. I had a excruciating headache after the brain surgery. I remember all the lights everywhere, and I just couldn't do it. And anything was just setting my head on a blaze, and I couldn't stand light at the time. I just needed it to be dark. As soon as I opened up my eyes,
So, in the room when I came in to see him after surgery, he had a headache. And I guess the lighting in the room was too bright or something. And so he got mad. And I remember him telling me to like shut up or to go home and to get out of the room or whatever. And I was just like, whatever. And he like screamed at me or whatever. And so I was like, okay, well, just know that when you get home and you get better, like, I'm gonna kick your butt. But I had to let it go because obviously he's just had a major surgery. So he got away with that one. So.
for the brain surgery, I stayed in bed a little bit for maybe about 2 weeks. And after the second week, I had actually gotten up and just started walking around and playing video games. And Christmas morning, I remember waking up and just getting up out of bed and going downstairs and playing with my nephew and playing with his car set that I had put together. And my mom had walking downstairs and was just like, "What are you doing? Well, why are you out of bed?" And it was honestly a Christmas miracle that I had just been gotten up out of bed, and I was just walking around like, 2 days ago I just hadn't, or I mean 2 weeks ago that I had just hadn't had brain surgery. You would have never guessed. So love who you are, and if you can do a surgery to make you happy, or you can just work out, or whatever you need to do to make yourself happy. I don't want to say do it, but just know that 100% love yourself for who you are, and that God loves you for who you are. God makes no mistakes.